Hey everybody, just partly inspired by DaithiDublin's latest video where he's showing some of his old recording gear, his computer gear and his camcorder gear and stuff. I thought I'd dig out some of my old recording gear. Now, this is what I've got. This thing here, I'm doing this Ashen style. This is the first portable studio. I shouldn't call it a portable studio, I'll mention why in a moment. First home recording piece of kit I ever owned. It's a Zoom MRS4 multi-track recording studio. You can tell it's got a lot of muck on it at the moment. It's quite old. I've had it quite a few years. Fun fact: if you're familiar with the YouTube channel Super Pixel Brothers, yeah, it was Chris from the Super Pixel Brothers who actually sold me this, and yeah, it was quite a good piece of kit to get me started learning how to home record. Runs off batteries. It runs off the mains as well, but yeah, got some batteries in. In fact, I've already checked this yet. Are these batteries charged? Let's see. No, batteries are flat, but that can easily be sorted out. It worked off these little card things. Yeah, these memory cards. I had a few of them. Yeah, if I can get the battery sorted, I'll see if there's any music on any of these. I think I had a look a while ago because I was looking for old Sheldon stuff by my old band. I don't think I could find any though, which was a shame. Nothing I could use. There was much use anyway, but I think there's a couple of nice bits of music on some of them, which should be good. So that's the Zoom MRS4. Now this thing here. Now this is a real Porter studio. This is we just zoom in here. This is a Tascam 244. Now you hear the word Porter studio used a lot these days as a generic term to describe any kind of portable piece of home recording kit, any kind of 4-track recorder. But these ones are the actual Porter studios. It's the proper name. It's a bit like Hoovers and vacuum cleaners. You know, they all get called Hoovers, but really only ones, actually. The original ones designed by Mr. Hoover, the janitor, whatever his name was. Only those should really be called Hoovers. Only these should really be called Porter Studios. And I've got it on at the moment because I found a little bit of music on this tape that's in here. It ran on tapes, these things, which I'll put that at the end of the video, I think. I've just managed to copy it onto my computer using a bit of kit I'll show you in a moment. But yeah, these things they run off tapes. If anyone doesn't know what a tape is, they're like MP3s, only bigger, and you need to occasionally sort of stick a biro in the holes and reel all the stuff back in. Something you don't have to do with MP3s. So yeah, those were the days. Tapes were great, I always thought, because when I was a little kid, there's no way I could be holding anything delicate like a vinyl, but a tape, not so bad. If I open the door here, yeah, it uses the whole breadth of the tape because it's a 4-track machine. So rather than just using 2 tracks, which is your left speaker and your right speaker, it uses the entire breadth of the tape. So you can only use one side of it. You can't sort of turn the thing over and record on the other side. But yeah, and you've got your 4 tracks there, so you can put various sort of inputs into these, which you do around the back. And those are your faders and your volume things, and there's all sorts of other stuff you've got to get used to. But you potter around enough. These are the things you use after you've recorded to change the levels and stuff, and pan the thing left and right. If you look around the back of it, yeah, that's where you'd plug in. That thing there is called a jumper, which basically enables the track for recording, but you can replace those with normal, leads. Can't remember what you call them now. But yeah, there's certain types of leads you can just easily use instead. This piece of kit's brilliant because I recorded an album on it, or me and my old band did. My band Sheldon, we recorded an album called Extravaganza. And we recorded it pretty much almost entirely using this thing. Partly because we'd done stuff in studios before, and some of it I'd liked and some of it I hadn't liked. And I really wanted to do something that wasn't... I really wanted to just try and get into home recording so we could get things sounding how we wanted. I was quite into stuff like Jesus and Mary Chain at the time. I was very much into noise pop. I was listening to lots of the Jesus and Mary Chain, Husker Du, bands like that, and I still do listen to bands like that. And that was sort of the thing I was going for. I was going for like a very raw but nicely balanced sort of sound. And I think that's what we got, really. People had mixed feelings about the record in the end, but I liked it, you know, warts and all. I still liked it. I still listen to it now and then. Still enjoy it. But pretty much entirely I used this piece of kit, and we used a set of drum mics which I've got somewhere. I had a bit of a look for them. I'm not sure where I've put them. And yeah, we mic'd things up. We used. It sounds like it was recorded live, which is what I was going for. But we did actually multi-track it. And basically, yeah, you've got your 4 tracks here. So we had one with guitar, one with vocals. I can't remember which one, but we had one with guitar, one with vocals, one with bass, and one with drums, and that was it. And there was no overdubs, really. I hate overdubs, to be honest. There's nothing more annoying than listening to a record where you can hear 6 guitars when you know there's only 1 guitar player in the band. It just seems really silly. You know, suddenly in the studio, because you're in a studio, you suddenly got to record about 1 million different guitar parts when there was only actually one. There's only going to be one being heard live, or you end up having to get twice as many session musicians as you have band members just to recreate the record live. So yeah, it was just 1 guitar per track. I think I did 1 drop. I think at one point because the best way to explain it, yeah, there was a bit of guitar I wasn't happy with, but there was no vocals in that particular part, so I recorded a little bit of extra guitar on the vocal track and then just cut the guitar bit I wasn't happy with off the guitar track. So that was what you do when you're limited to 4 tracks. That's how you do it. You can't do like 6 guitar takes and then just decide which one you want to keep and cut and paste, but ones you want. You're limited, so you've kind of got to get it pretty spot on, or it's just not going to work. And so yeah, that's the quite an important piece of kit in my musical history there. And yeah, I was pretty happy with the way the album turned out, although it wasn't going to be everyone's cup of tea like that. It was partly the limitations of technology, but also partly protest against the horrible kind of glossy modern sound you hear on records. That sort of glossy sound has always been popular, but even nowadays you hear it on rock records, you hear it on rock and roll records, even on what's supposed to be like punk records. I just think, ugh. Sometimes if the songs are good enough, I can see past the horrible glassy production sound, but yeah, I do prefer something a little bit more raw. You know, sounds like it does live. Rock and roll is a live type of music, as far as I'm concerned. It's not some horrible kind of overly polished studio project. So that was that. So this is the first piece of kit I owned. I did use this a little bit for recording the album, actually. I recorded a couple of guide tracks for the drummer to play along with. He listened to those tracks on this while recording his drums onto this, which helped us a bit. This thing over here, while we're on the subject, that's a desk. Just zoom in on that. Yeah, that's just a basic desk. That's not quite so old. Just a basic desk with a few channels on it, and we used to put drum mics through that. Then we'd hook them up and go into this Porter studio here, and I can plug into there. So it was all live drums. We couldn't really mix them afterwards. We had to sort of mix to get the balance right before we recorded them. But again, that's how it is live. That's how it works. Great. This thing here, just down here on the floor, this is what I use now for recording. Most of the stuff I've put on YouTube, any music I've done, was recorded through this, including that little intro piece of music I have in most of my videos. You know, the do 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 do. That's it. That bit of music was recorded on this. This is a Toneport UX2 from Line 6, and it's a pretty nice bit of kit. Again, very user friendly if you're just an ordinary schmo like me. Yeah, you just basically USB it into your computer. It comes with a software called Gearbox. It gives you a few different guitar sounds, different amps. So if you want to use a Marshall amp, you can just pick the Marshall amp setting, or if you want to use a Vox amp or an Orange amp, whatever, you pick those ones and you go for it. And these are the headphones I currently have plugged into it. These Nephilim-free style headphones. Horrible old, obviously broken and held back together with electrical tape headphones. But they do the job. I need to get some better ones. I did have some better ones and then left them at someone's house, and that was the last I saw of those. But yeah, those are the ones I use. These are the ones, if you've ever seen me doing a Google Hangout, those are what I'm wearing, because they're the ones I have handy. And this thing here, the microphone I always use to record vocals, I could lie and tell you I always keep it in this box nice and neatly. I don't actually. It's just I was tidying up before and I found the box, and so I decided to put the thing back in the box. I have this nasty habit of leaving the thing loose, which you can tell because the clip's broken on it. So it still works, the mic still works, but the clip, that thing there, is supposed to be the bit that you can attach it to a stand with. So I just have to hold it or tape it to a stand or something, or tether it to a stand. But lesson there, I mean I can always replace that clip at some point. The lesson to learn there is maybe I should keep it in the box when I'm not using it, you know, like a proper grown up. Just get the box closed again, there we go. So yeah, that's a bit of old recording kit. And yeah, and there's quite a lot you can do, even if you're not some kind of ultra-trained engineer. There's a lot you can do with a little bit of home recording gear. You can play around with it. Sometimes I think not being a proper engineer gives you a little bit more creative freedom. I don't want to dismiss people who do work as actual sound engineers. Obviously you know a lot more than I do about it. I'm sure you can you know, do all sorts of mad stuff with music that I can't. But sometimes I think limitations push your creativity. I think Joss Whedon said that. Joss Whedon being the creator of Buffy the Vampire Slayer and obviously Firefly, which is my favourite science fiction series. Limitations push your creativity. You have to be more creative if you're limited, because you don't have as much at your disposal. So you have to think a bit more. You have to be a little bit more creative in your thinking. And I suppose Einstein said as well, didn't he, that imagination is more important than knowledge, in the sense that knowledge is great and it's vital, but if you don't have imagination, there's not a lot you can do with it. You can't really think things up. So yeah, so I was thinking that was something else that DaithiDublin said in his video, and that was that he was getting into doing some videos for people, for local businesses. That's a good idea, you know. There's nothing wrong with that. Doing as long as you know your limitations, you can say, well, I can't do this for you, but I can do that. You know, these are some things I can do. That was my approach with recording. I was thinking, well, I could work in my limitations and come up with something really good within those limitations. And it seems to work, and most of the stuff I've done is home recorded. There are some things on my current album and things like that that were recorded in studios by some friends of mine who needed, I think most of them were doing, one of my friends was doing a recording project and needed someone to come and do recording, and another guy just was another friend of mine who just really, really wanted to record one of my songs, which was nice of him. But other than that, most of the stuff I do is I've done with some of this kit. At least that's the stuff that's out there at the moment. I have actually been doing some recording at LIPA, the Liverpool Institute of Performing Arts, with a friend of mine. That's in some ways going to be more professional, but it's still me. It's still going to sound, nice and stripped down, not layered in with loads of overdubs and all that sort of thing. So yeah, it's a bit of a look at that. I mean, I was thinking, along the lines of what DaithiDublin was saying about that. That's what I was saying. I have been thinking for a while of maybe seeing if anyone's interested in, doing some sort of collaboration with me with some music. Seeing if they wouldn't mind letting me do the music for one of their videos or something like that, or use of the music I've already got for a video. Now I'm not talking about what Kevin MacLeod does. That's not what I'm trying to do, and I'm not trying to slag him off necessarily, but what he does is basically makes a lot of stock music, very ordinary sounding music that people can ignore, and then puts it up for anyone to use, and then they can just use it, so they've got that little bit of sort of generic 12-bar blues or whatever it is in the background on their video, or a little jingle, and that's fine if that's what you're after, but I'm not really trying to do that. Partly I would only want to do music on request, so if someone said, look, I'd really, really like to get some of your music on one of my videos, I'd be like, okay, great, as long as you like the sort of stuff I do, because that's the sort of music I'm going to do for you. But also, I don't want just anyone using it. I mean, one of the things with Kevin MacLeod is even people like JP Holding use his music, and he's a complete asshole. I wouldn't want anyone like that using my music to promote their vile beliefs or their vile bullshit. But yeah, I'd be more interested in doing, so I'm not just trying to stock music for people to use in videos. I suppose I could do that if someone really wanted me to, but I'd be more interested in people who are doing creative projects or whatever like that, or things where they want some kind of a bit more standout kind of music or something a little bit more creative. I'd be quite interested in seeing if I could do that for people if they were interested in it. I don't quite know how I'd approach it, but it's been something I've been thinking about for a long time. But I know a lot of people can probably do their own music though. That's the thing, because they've probably got the same kit as me. So you know, but you know, even if it was only like a couple of people who wanted to do it, I think everyone on the internet is a musician, so you know, you see it in everyone's videos. There's a guitar or a keyboard or something lying around in the back of their videos, but eventually everyone on the internet is going to tell you to check out their band or something, or ask you to listen to their new song or whatever, but or they're going to do a video of them playing an instrument or singing a song or something. But even so, it's something I've been thinking about, if they're maybe trying to get some sort of creative project going or collaboration going. I had an idea ages ago for a tribute to Carl Sagan, which I've got the music sort of written for it pretty much, and there's what I wanted to do was do a load of artwork that'll go with it as a sort of kind of tribute, but I think it's going to take ages to do, and it would require me to get a little bit of someone who knows a bit more about science than me to proofread some of the stuff to make sure all the images that go with it are scientifically accurate and so on. Obviously I don't want to give too much away about my idea, but yeah, this is some thoughts there. So that's basically some recording gear, that's where all the magic happens, that's the equipment that I use to make, that's my modem, that also plays a part. But yeah, I found a bit of music on this as well, which I'm going to play at the end of the video. Okay, let me know what you think if you want. Goodbye.